Okay, hi Ben. Happy holidays. This is a new system I'm using for drafting, and I hope it is more accessible. First thing I would say is I think it's much more effective to have your advertisements actually at the beginning of your comparison, um, because then it's much clearer, it's much easier to look at them and your analysis. Second thing I would say is your order of your your head, your subtitles is a bit all over the place. You need to go back to the task sheet and you need to be making sure that you're following that order. So it's form, purpose, target audience, social context, visual elements, which by the way is missing completely, so you need to go and put that in, then language features, and then your conclusion and evaluation. So a little bit more care and effort would have made sure that you had actually sorted that out, Ben. Yeah, so advertising, you say a little bit. Now, when I've highlighted in red, it means that there's a grammatical or spelling error. I'm not going to do it all the way through, but we don't abbreviate in formal writing. When you say clearly these advertisements are years apart, but it's interesting to see how they have evolved over time to specific target audiences. A bit better editing, please, Ben. You're capable of much better expression than that. What I think you're saying here is that you're looking at what they show is how advertising has developed in sophistication over the years to accommodate a much more media savvy target audience, not to mention the technological advances in sneaker design. Purpose. Yeah, just be very clear. Go back to the PowerPoint that we went through and that is on sector. The purpose of advertising is to create or to build an interest or a desire in the target audience for the product, and to make sure that the target audience is able to remember the product and they create an emotional connection with their audience in order to make them want to purchase the product. So now I'm just a little bit confused because you talk about the masculine colors of the Nike ad. And I've had a look at Google, and all the examples of this advertisement that I see is it's all black and white. So I don't know if there's a where the red part is on the upper, because all the examples of this are black and white, and that would have been a specific choice of the advertisers. So you're going to need to go and check that. Now you've sort of sneaked over to target audience under purpose, so you're going to need to go and do a bit of editing. Form is down here. They use form in different ways to get their messages across. Yes. But what you need to be really focusing on is, yes, billboards and big posters placed in front of stores. You need to find a copy of the advertisement where that red pops, because otherwise you're going to have to go back and change it. Yes, so billboards, bus shelters, busy highways, places where there are going to be lots of the target audience coming through. The ASICS, yes, I think it clearly is, would be published in magazines. And I liked the fact that you had actually mentioned the magazine. And yes, because it's got a lot more writing, it's counting on the fact that the person reading it, the woman reading it, has got a little bit more time, because there's a lot of specialist information there. So I'm not going to do language features yet. Where have you taught? Oh, audience. Male adults. Yeah, you're pretty good on target audience. Just be careful, little things like this, catching people's attention. Make sure you're using that technical language. We're talking about target audience or consumers. When you say they, in order to hit all those criteria, Ben, you need to make sure that you are highlighting the fact that you understand the ways in which creators of text are using language features, stylistic features, and conventions to make meaning. So just make sure that you're foregrounding your understanding. Refer to the advertisers or the copywriters or the designers or Nike or ASICS as the creators of these advertisements, because advertisements are texts like any others. And you'll have to be doing that again when you're analyzing the effect, showing that the way that they're using these conventions have certain effects on their target audience, all of which is to enhance or reinforce that connection that they want to make between their target audience and their product. So just, I think your analysis of the target audience is fine. Just have a look at, you've sort of doubled up here. So just read this through, make sure that you are, I think between 12, possibly, I think we're looking at a slightly older. Remember, think about the magazine that you have said that it's, I don't think a 12-year-old girl is going to sit and read all that information. She's much more interested in cherry lip balm or something. Okay, that was very general and stereotypical, and I take it back. But I think we are looking at an older audience here. You need to have a think about that. Possibly 20 to 30 as the target audience, but that's not to mean that people over that age won't be interested. But you be guided by the person that's on the ad. That's the target audience. It's going to be women within 10 years of her age. So I reckon she's probably, does it say how old she is? You can have a look. 20 something. You're going to have to check that. So I think you're going to look at around about 5 years either side of that would be the target audience. And I think you could have probably worked that out yourself, Ben. But anyway, social context. I think you've kind of missed the main point here about this ASICS ad. In recent years, there's been a big backlash against media and how it stereotypes, and it's created these unrealistic ideals of female beauty by using Photoshop and skinny models. And I think what ASICS are doing is they're tapping into this backlash that sort of came out a few years ago against it. And the language here is all implying this, as beautiful as lowering your own time. This is not about beauty that comes from what you look like. This is about the beauty that comes from achieving, by pushing yourself. This is about strong, determined, independent, powerful women. This is not about the Kardashians, Ben. So you need to go and have a look at that. So I want you to go and tidy that part up. I think you did some good research on Air Max, so that's okay. But I think the main difference in social context here is, yes, make sure that you show that how far apart they are, but the technological advances, the sort of focus on these new competitions, Ironmans. I don't know. I might be wrong. Did they have them in 1987? But you probably need to cut a little bit because you are 150 words over. So language, all over the place, Ben. You've got to tidy this up. So language. As I've said, this is all a little bit wordy and there's not enough specific analysis, and I know that you're really capable of that. You need to analyze the effect the language choices have on the target audience, just like you did with your messenger essay. So again, show your understanding that when they talk about as beautiful as lowering your time, you do say, yes, they use direct address. What is the effect of that? It's not about just grabbing their attention. It's talking directly. It draws the target audience in, and it's showing them a level of respect. If you're an independent, powerful, determined athlete, just like this woman, then you're really going to get this. So you need to be using topic sentences. And your first one, this is a bit confusing. These advertisements both share significant yet different language features for their target audiences, hence why both campaigns were successful. Ben, you need to tidy this up. You need to use topic sentences that are much clearer than that. They both use persuasive language techniques in order to reinforce their central message to their target audience. And the main difference is that the ASICS ad uses language, has a lot more text, it has a lot more information about the product and the ideas that they're selling. And that's because it's a magazine ad. And the Nike ad just has to grab their target audience's attention in a split second as they drive past or run past or hop on the bus. So it's got minimal text, but it's still very powerful. Cushioning that never ends. This was a brand new product. So this is use of jargon, isn't it? It's technical information. Go back to the annotated advertisements that were attached to the visual elements handout. You've got to do quite a bit of work on this, Ben, because you've got nothing under visual elements. So what you need to do is, you need to go back to the PowerPoint, have a look at what's written there about language features, and then topic sentences, clear evidence, and then explaining the effect, and keep using that language, comparative language, to show that you're comparing how and contrasting how they do it. So you've got a bit of work to do there. And you've got a lot of work to do on the visual elements. So please don't do what everyone else in the class has done, which is completely ignore the visual elements handout and the annotations. You're doing it from scratch. So you need clear topic sentences. Both creators have used a wide variety of visual language in order to enhance or reinforce their key connection with their target audience. And then you need to be looking at 3 to 4. Use the elements of visual language to help you, Ben. So, conclusion. Please don't say, I believe that. A very brief summary. What do you think is the most effective advertisement and why? So you think the Nike one is, so just say, well, what do you think is the most effective technique that they use? Is it the sort of, and look, they've used special effects. It's very powerful and forceful. You've got the swoosh 3 times. You've got the element that the new technology that they're trying to heighten, it really is eye-catching. The fact that it's in black and white, why? So once you've done your analysis of the visual elements, you can then come to a good conclusion and evaluation. You're going to have to keep it short. Now you are 1,001, you're 165 words over, and you haven't actually addressed the visual elements, Ben. So you've got to go back and cut some of that wordiness. Topic sentences, evidence, use Teal. Make sure that you are interweaving your comparison. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy drafting.